Even fools are thought wise if they keep silent, and discerning if they hold their tongue. Even a fool. Some of you are not wise yet. You're on a journey of wisdom. Some of you come from families, if they're anything like mine, that wisdom was not of value. And so really people are gossiping, they're complaining, they're negative, they're fault finding, and they're conversations about people, right? And so when you've engaged in that your entire life and you talk about people, it's successful people talk about ideas, they talk about vision, they talk about the future. Unsuccessful people talk about people. And so when you have that as a culture, you're a fool. And the Bible talks about how even a fool will appear wise if they remain silent. And so, some of you need to go through a silent season. You need to go through a silent season. Some of you are exhausted because you've explained yourself, and the emotional expenditure of explaining yourself to other foolish people has actually made you believe that you're physically exhausted, but the root is not a physical exhaustion, it's an emotional expenditure. Let me rewind that back for you. Emotional expenditure produces physical exhaustion. Am I right? There are some people in some situations where within the first 5 minutes of hanging out with them, you're tired and you haven't done anything yet. Boring. There's some people, it's like every word out of their mouth is a complaint about their situation or somebody else. And within 5 minutes, your emotional expenditure, they made a $1 million withdrawal from a relationship they've only deposited $15 into. Some of you are like, did I just tune into Dr. Phil today? Like, what is going on? I used to say this, no deposit, no return. It's okay sometimes in a relationship to make a withdrawal, but there are people who are bouncing your emotional account all the time because they never invest in you, but they're always making a withdrawal. They're takers. And so many of us are feeling physically exhausted from an emotional expenditure. And that's why the Bible says even fools are thought to be wise if they remain silent. Okay, let's continue to go deeper. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 7. And I know I'm not scream preaching, but we got to learn. Remember when I said the Unoffendable Heart series is going to be us sitting at a family table and learning how to feast in the presence of our enemies, and it's going to be trying to spiritually father our church in a way that we increase in our emotional quotient. Y'all remember that? It's like you spent 12 years in a public school system increasing your intelligence, but never increasing your emotional quotient, and we're deficient, we're lopsided. So we need to come up in the area of our emotions, and I'm preaching to myself, to be honest with you. I think it's when you're good with words, it's dangerous to use them in the wrong direction. Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 7, the wisest man to ever live actually wrote this. There's a time to be silent and there's a time to speak. But I ask you the question, how much time are you silent and how much time do you speak? Because it'll reveal something. There's time to be silent and there's time to speak. There's some people that the more you're silent with them, the more they will reveal about them. There's some people that when you stop talking, they'll start talking and they'll reveal themselves. And some of you, you're reliant on discernment because you talk too much. But if you just stop talking, you wouldn't even need discernment because they would tell on themselves. So there's something about silence. There's something about the wisdom of silence. Silence is a preservation of energy. Silence is a preservation of time. Silence is a preservation of discernment, where suddenly because you're silent, hey, I don't even need to exercise discernment. Them talking is revealing everything I need. There's a power in silence. There's a power in silence. Even within your prayer life, when you talk, it's impossible to listen to God. And some of the most prophetic people you've ever met are those who are silent in prayer. When Jesus prayed for hours, how much of it was him talking and how much of it was him in silence?